This is my long overdue 6-month update on the Vilano Tuono. It's been actually about 9 months now. I've probably got 1,000, maybe 1,200 miles on it. So I thought it was a good time to jump back on and just give some updates on the different issues with the bike. First was the brake pads that seem to be wearing out really quickly. Happy to say those actually are doing fine. 1,000, 1,200 miles on it at this point. I'd say they're down maybe 20%, so they're actually holding up pretty good. They are very loud when you're using them. It almost sounds like a disc brake on a car that's out of pad. It almost sounds metallic, but they work fine. They're kind of embarrassing, but when you're holding the brakes down hard, but they work great, and they're actually not wearing out very quickly at all. The brake levers, for me, I wear a medium large size glove, and these handles just stick out when I'm riding just a little bit too far. I've got to actually reach out a little bit to be able to grab them, so that's a little bit inconvenient, not a huge deal. That non-adjustable seat is definitely an issue. It's uncomfortable on longer rides. Most of my rides are only between 5 and 10 miles. I'm just trying to stay on the bike right now so I don't lose my legs, but I could just imagine on anything more than an hour that would be really uncomfortable, and again, that's mainly because it doesn't tilt this direction. So that'd be nice, but I have not upgraded it yet because again, it's mostly short rides, under half an hour. The tires and the tubes have been great. The tires are not wearing out quickly at all, and I have not had a flat. I've only had to add air a couple times, so that was another one of my main concerns buying the bike. Is I thought these tires would the tubes would blow out, the tires would be trash, and they have lasted just fine. They look, again, this horrible lighting is probably hard to pick up, but they have plenty of tread, not worn out at all, don't lose air, so really happy with those. Now, they do have really bad wet traction and sand or dust or anything on the road. I've almost gone down a couple times. If there's any water on the road, there's just not a lot of traction, and just going around turns where there's dust or dirt or anything like that collected on the road, the tire will just come out from underneath you. So I have to be careful with that. But again, super cheap tires, and as far as like holding air and good dry traction, they're excellent. So I mean, for this level of bike. The rear derailleur has kind of been a pain. I've had to adjust that 3 or 4 times. I mean, that's not really much to do with the bike as it is to do with, that's just a really low end derailleur. That's normal. You can't tune a $300 bike into a $1,000 bike. That's just something you have to deal with. I don't think that's, in 9 months having to mess with that a few times is not a huge deal. The gear changes are pretty fast and quiet overall, a little nicer than I was actually expecting. The bike's pretty quiet when you're going down the road. It's those brake pads are pretty much the only thing that really stands out as being somewhat annoying or almost embarrassing when you're putting the brakes on. But everything else, it shifts just fine. Now those thumb shifters, they're definitely still my main problem with the bike, or the thing I like the least about the bike. I have gotten used to it, and I'm pretty good at shifting without having to come up out of the proper riding position. But it's still kind of a pain. After several months, I got the touch for exactly how much pressure to give it to go up or down a gear. Still would much prefer integrated shifters, but overall, this has been an amazing bike. And if you're getting into riding a road bike and this is your budget, I highly recommend this model. I think it's a great way to get into riding. I wouldn't buy it expecting that you're going to be able to upgrade it just because of how much hassle it's going to be to try to turn this into something more than what it is. I'd recommend you buy it, ride the heck out of it for 6 months or a year, and then upgrade and hand it off to someone else that's looking to sell it, or hand it off to someone else that'd be excited to get onto a road bike. This is my long overdue 6-month update on the Vilano Tuono. It's been actually about 9 months now. I've probably got 1,000, maybe 1,200 miles on it. So I thought it was a good time to jump back on and just give some updates on the different issues with the bike. First was the brake pads that seem to be wearing out really quickly. Happy to say those actually are doing fine. 1,000, 1,200